Pen Made Mightier without wood.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Pen Made Mightier. This week we're going to be talking about CHAPPiE. It's Neil Blomkamp's new movie. It's my favorite of his 3 movies, so a little bit of history about Neil first. His first film was District 9, which from what I've heard is supposed to be a Halo movie, but then he lost a bunch of licensing rights, and so The Covenant became Prawns. And the movie flowed pretty well, honestly, except it ended a little bit too short for me, and I was just gearing up for a good finale, and then it was credits instead. But that being said, I still thought it was a pretty good film. His second film, Elysium, I liked a lot less. It was also supposed to be a Halo movie from everything I've heard online, but again, it fell through, so the giant ring-shaped space station became a haven for the wealthy elite, and I felt the story was kind of ill-conceived. Like, even if they had just taken one of the magical fix-all-your-problem tanning beds off of the Halo satellite and put it back down on Earth, everybody could have been cured of their cancer and uncurable diseases, and there'd be no need for a space race. I also felt like the messages and morals were a bit heavy-handed, but we could talk about that another time. This movie, though, CHAPPiE, it's really good. It's got its problems, but it's really, really good, at least in my opinion. And I think audiences really agreed with me. It's got a really high score from common men, and it's got a pretty bad score from critics. And I kind of wonder why that is. If he's maybe made some enemies, or, well, who knows, maybe we'll talk about some more of that at the end of the video. Who knows?
Where have all the good men gone, and where are all the gone? Where's the streetwise earth believe?
If you've seen Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2, which, honestly, you probably should have. They're really good films, especially for their time period, and they had a profound impact on me as a child. There are a lot of similarities between CHAPPiE and Short Circuit. See if any of this sounds familiar. A fantastic scientist of Indian origin creates a new form of artificial intelligent life that is originally conceived as a war machine meant to do rudimentary tasks with common programming, but a mysterious event happens and suddenly one of them can think, can feel, and live and do stuff on his own. He ends up falling into trouble with some quote-unquote unsavory types, and there he learns about the world and its intricacies, and through some problems that happen with these unsavory types, he learns about aggression and violence and war and all of the bad parts of humanity before eventually asserting himself as his own being, running away from the military and self-destructing in a way to escape into another body, quote quote, so that he can live to fight another day. Probably should have put a spoiler warning before that. Hey, put this spoiler warning before that, but then leave it here so it makes sense and doesn't look out of place or something. I don't care. Do what you want, Kirk. I don't care. At its core, both of these films, Short Circuit and CHAPPiE, which we're going to spend more time talking about, are all about AI and about humanity taking the next step and creating robots that can think and feel and do everything that we do. There's tons of media that's covered this, of course, stuff like The Matrix and Deus Ex and that show Humans and I think Almost Human and man, how many shows have covered artificial intelligence by this point? Bicentennial Man, Robin Williams. I'm a little sad now. Pretty much anything cyberpunk. Lots of sci-fi films. Terminator. How did I forget about Terminator? iRobot. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. More anime than I could shake a stick at. Things like Robotics Notes pop to mind. Plastic Memories. Lots and lots of AI and stuff like that in all sorts of media. But I feel like CHAPPiE did something that other AI stories haven't really done before, and that is the fact that it let its machines 100% surpass anything we as humans have been capable of doing so far. That's cool. CHAPPiE shows a wonderful amount of moral ambiguity between the people that teach CHAPPiE the things that he ends up learning, and also sparks a lot of philosophical debate in a great way. I don't think I can think of a movie that talks about nature versus nurture quite as well as CHAPPiE does. When he's first activated with the AI, all he wants to do is hold himself up and defend himself and get away from the things that are scaring him. Dion, his creator, tries to instill some random knowledge like chicken and watch into him, but he's quickly driven off by thugs, and these thugs spend the next few days trying to drill him into gang activity. How to shoot, how to commit crimes, how to steal. But that's not all they teach him. He also ends up learning to read and to paint, and that he is more than just a program in a metal shell, that he might have a soul beyond just being beautiful, honestly. It's something that most humans I know have struggled with at one point or another, about who am I? Where do I fit into the giant cosmic puzzle? What is my purpose? And when I die, what happens to me? Yeah. If it boggled my mind at 13, the fact that it boggles his mind at 5 days means he was growing way faster than I think any of us can. Which, again, it shows that robotic superiority. The fact that they can learn and process things far faster than we can. That they can be up and running and able in days as opposed to years on the human side. Once he is confronted with his mortality, he has to question his creator's motives. Why did his creator put him in an imperfect body? Why did his creator activate him just to leave him to die? It's something we struggle about. Anyone who's practiced any religion has probably asked those questions of their deity of choice until the stars have all burned out and space has collapsed in upon itself. I know I myself have asked that question of my creator several times. And I think it's a pretty natural thing to think about, that if there is a creator in the universe, then why in the world did they leave us in bodies that are doomed to fail? And it's something CHAPPiE has to come to terms with, and it makes him angry at his creator, frustrated, and even makes him make some morally ambiguous choices, which is the most human thing that I think I've ever seen an AI do. The fact that he's suddenly willing to steal, that he's willing to talk back to his creator, to be mean to his creator, because his creator wronged him. And it's a really human way to feel, given his circumstances. What? I mean, come on. We watched Walter White cook meth for several seasons because he's scared to death, and yet everyone's like, oh, stupid robot tried to... Yeah, of course the robot tried to live. If he's anything like humanity, he has to try to live, and he has to be mad about his situation. It's beautiful to see robotics evolve to that level. It's an easy parallel to draw, that we look into the Bible and see things like, you shall not wear a piece of clothing made of two fabrics, or don't eat pigs and shellfish. And we think those rules are pretty arbitrary. Why are those being instilled in us? Just like CHAPPiE sort of questions why rules are being instilled in him and why he shouldn't fight to survive. But his creator is his creator, and he genuinely wants what's best for him in some form or fashion. However, then we're confronted with Hugh Jackman's character, Vincent. And Vincent is kind of a warmonger, and he is constantly threatening everything that Dion has made and stood for. And this means that Dion and Vince Jackman soon have to come to blows with each other. And this is an easy parallel draw between God and the devil. They are directly at conflict with each other. It's paralleled even more because you can say that Vincent Jackman genuinely wants what's best for people and giving them a peacekeeper in the Moose. Dumbest name for a mech ever, by the way. The Moose? Really? The Moose? Okay, moving on. So after that, Vincent Ackman decides that he is going to pilot the Moose and start raining death on people, but he rips people asunder. He mows people down. People who are not a part of his objective. He does it because there's a sadistic pleasure that Hugh Jackman derives from tearing people to shreds. Hugh Jackman is the devil. So, this movie about robotics that makes us question philosophy, that makes us question the existence of God and the universe, does something that most other AI movies who can sort of touch these subjects, this movie does something that they don't, in the fact that it allows the robots to surpass their creators. In a week, CHAPPiE has learned and codified human consciousness, even uploading it to a crowd of PS4s. There's the Vio. We mentioned Sony funded this movie. God, Sony everywhere. We get it, Sony. We all want to play Bloodborne. Can you stop shoving it down our throats? I'd appreciate it. I'm sorry. Moving on. So, in the fact that he improves on what we understand, and that he then improves on robotics, he takes the step in 1 week from being a prototype who knows little to nothing to being the thing that creates the next form of life, which is a robot with a human soul. that's fantastic because no AI film that I can think of has any AI that genuinely 100% surpasses humanity and pushes us to the next phase of evolution beyond even robotics. They did it well, and as a lover of AI stories, I applaud them for that. Because of that, CHAPPiE is more human in this movie than most humans in this movie, and certainly more than any other AI I've seen in film before. So why did the movie get panned? Why did it get such terrible critical reviews? Well, it could be that Neil has made enemies in the industry, and that's certainly possible. But there's a host of other problems with CHAPPiE, in the fact that pacing in the middle, really rough. It's got a strong beginning and a strong conclusion, but the middle part is a little, it could use some tightening. It's a foreign setting, which I don't think is bad. I think it's cool it takes place in South Africa, but I can definitely see how a lot of people, especially American viewers, and especially hoity-toity American viewers, would say, well, that doesn't look like the world I live in, so I guess I just don't care. And then they turn off their brains, and they go about their day, and they, America. I'd actually like to see more movies put in foreign settings like this, but I don't know. When you're trying to sell to the big American audiences and all of the other nations who so hungrily accept movies that are depicted in and around America-esque environments, or in heavily fantastic environments like Middle Earth, there can be a bit of subtle racism that can play into this, and that's really sad to see. I certainly hope it wasn't the case here. There's not a lot of archetypes in this movie. The only one I can really cite is the fact that CHAPPIE's creator is an Indian programmer, which is kind of a stereotype, but nobody else really fits into those roles. They even try and make Hugh Jackman not handsome by putting him in this really awkward 9-to-5 outfit and making him grow this big beard, and he looks almost average and everybody else looks pretty average. Even the thugs look average, which I appreciated the fact they didn't try and make the thugs look ugly and show that they kind of had their own culture and they had their own interesting way of life that was very Shadowrun to me, if you've ever played Shadowrun. It's very cool. Also, for a movie about robots, there is very little combat in this film. I think a lot of people were mad about that. They wanted it to be an action movie. They wanted a lot of robots fighting robots, because that's what you think when you see robots. There is a reason Pacific Rim does so well. But WALL-E didn't have much combat, and it was still fantastic, so that one seems like a weird one to me. There wasn't a ton of humor in this movie either. I mean, there's some funny moments, to be sure, and lots of moments that tug on your heartstrings, but there wasn't a lot of humor. And if you're not going to have action and you're not going to have humor, that kind of makes it a dramatical piece, which, that could be a struggle. Also, movie ends on kind of a downer note. Some people have lost their physical bodies and moved on to new robotic shells, and the world is in turmoil. I can see how people would take that and kind of feel like it was a bit of a downer, but to me it was a beautiful moment. Wonderful step towards humanity's future. But still, I bet some critics didn't see it that way. All that to say, I think CHAPPiE is actually underrepresented by the critics. I think you should go out, see it, base your own opinion about it, and talk about it with me below. If you want to keep up with more of our videos, feel free to subscribe. Share it with your friends on Facebook, or post it to Reddit if you want. Tweet about it. Tweet to me. We can talk on Twitter. We're at Twitter at Pen Made Mightier. So keep in touch with us, and next time we'll talk about some more films. Have a great day, and I thank you very much for sticking with me to the end of the video. Have a great one. Hugh Jackman is the devil.